I believe you started weightlifting when you were about 14. Is that correct?
Yeah, it was right around then, yeah.
Okay, and why did you start when you were 14, and what was the consequence of starting?
I started in the gym because I played a lot of sports, and I was very athletic, but I wasn't really good at the skill of the sports. So I played hockey, basketball, football, but I wasn't great at dribbling or shooting, but I was really fast and strong. So I ended up kind of sticking to what I like. You know, I knew I was good at strengths, I was good in the gym, so I started doing that more and more, and I just had a passion for that. I slowly built that. And as sports get progressively more competitive, I started to kind of get pushed out of that, but I noticed I had a lot of unique skills in the gym, if you will. So I started to excel very well in that above a lot of people. And of course, at a young age, when you're starting to get attention from girls and see some success and put on some muscle and all that, you start to enjoy that a little bit more. It makes you like the training in the gym even more. So I put more and more focus into that, started nailing my diet, my nutrition, training, everything like that. And then it was when I was in grade 12, my sister started dating a local bodybuilder, and they're actually married now. He's my brother-in-law, and he started coaching me into the true realm of bodybuilding. Because before that, I was just training to be strong. I didn't understand bodybuilding to how precise it really was. So he started teaching me the intricacies of that, and he saw the potential in me. He's like, "You're young." I was 18 years old, had a lot of muscle on me. He's like, "You should try doing a bodybuilding show. I'll coach you. We'll see how it goes. Have some fun with it. Why not?"
Oh yeah.
So I was like, "Sure,
Okay,
I'll give it a shot."
Okay,
So, yeah.
okay. So let's walk into the practicalities of that, because there will be lots of people who are watching and listening who, in principle, would like to discipline themselves. In principle, they'd like to hit the gym and, undergo some physical transformation to make themselves stronger and healthier and more attractive. And like, I started weightlifting when I was about, 21, 22, something like that. I was very, very thin and not very strong. And I packed on about 35 pounds of muscle in about 2 years. I had to eat like a mad dog to do that. And there's a reason I'm telling you this. I mean, because it did a lot of things for me that I didn't understand that weightlifting would do. Now, I used free weights, and one of the things I noticed, apart from the fact that I packed on muscle and was stronger, was that my posture improved a lot. I was starting to get hunched a little bit because I was tight sitting and writing a lot, and it pulled my shoulders back up straight. And then it was really good for my coordination, especially my lower body. My legs got a lot more coordinated. And the other thing it did was produce, and I think this went along with the coordination, and maybe that was from working all the little tendons and so forth that you do with free weights. It also made me a lot more physically, confident. And I don't think that was nearly as much a consequence of the strength as it was a consequence of the increased coordination. Okay, so back when you were 14, you were already athletic. You started hitting the gym more thoroughly. What size were you? What height were you when you were 14? How were you built physically when you were that young a teenager?
I don't remember my exact size, but I was like a lean, skinny kiddish. I was probably like just under 6 foot, maybe 180 pounds, 170 pounds or so. So I was never really small. And even when I graduated high school, I was about 220 pounds. So definitely noticed some of the same things as yourself. I was definitely a bit of an anxious kid, quiet and introvert, and going in the gym by myself, playing some music, just enjoying that, it allowed me to control the outcome of all that, and it was really fun for me. And obviously, like you said, you noticed as well, it builds confidence in you. Even just being good at something could build confidence in you. So obviously that was part of what I started to do. And like I said, you get a little attention from having some muscle at a young age, and that builds a little bit more confidence. And all these things started kind of trickling in my mind, being like, oh wow, I really like this. I should keep doing. If I do more of it, I'll get more of these good feelings from it.
Right. Okay. So you were a pretty big kid. You're already 6 feet tall. You're pretty built. 180 and 6 feet at 14. So you had the natural physique for this. And then how did you start? Had you been a disciplined kid up to then? How had you done in school? Were you someone who had regular and good habits? Were you a conscientious person to begin with? I'm kind of wondering how you managed to develop the discipline to start working out in the gym, and how regularly were you? Walk me through how you learned to do this, and step by step, so that people listening could figure out for themselves what they would do if they decided to go to the gym, and also the obstacles. When I went to the gym, I went at McGill, And like I said, I was very thin. I was about 6 feet tall, but about 135 pounds, like very, very thin and not very strong. And one of the obstacles to me of being in the gym was that it's embarrassing even to some degree to recount, because when I was there, people would come over and show me how to use the weights. And that's friendly, but it's also very annoying. And I think I was bench pressing like 75 pounds with some difficulty at that point. And so, that's not very much weight. And so one of the things you can imagine, that when people are going to hit the gym, there's a couple of, especially if they haven't been athletic, there's a couple of things that are going to be impediments. They're going to be self-conscious. They don't know what the hell they're doing. Plus, hypothetically, they lack discipline. Now, you had the advantages of being slightly, somewhat on the larger side, and also being athletic. But how did you develop the discipline, and what impediments did you have to overcome as you were developing that discipline?
Yeah, so I heard a quote the other day that stuck with me because it thought of me of this. It was, you don't start something because you're passionate, you stick with it because you're passionate. So I kind of just started it. I fell into it naturally. And like I said, as I started to see results and get a little bit more joy out of it, I started to become more passionate and put more effort into it. And every year since I was a child, I've become a little bit more consistent, a little bit more passionate, put a little bit more effort into it. So my discipline has continued to grow over time because I just stuck with something for a while and wanted to see how it went, and it just kind of tumble affected. But I definitely had some of the similar feelings, and I hear it from everybody about being a little anxious being in the gym. And it's funny, it's people will come help you to make you feel comfortable, but like you said, it can almost be demeaning, make you feel a little bit like, all right, you think I need your help? But when I was young,
Right.
Yeah. So my dad actually had one of those old sand weights. It was like a weeder bar with sand weights in the basement. And I remember setting up some boxes, filling them up with stuff and lying on it and trying to bench press on it, because it's hard to balance a bench press at first. Like you talked about the stability and all that. It's difficult. So I was a young kid in my basement doing that with push-ups and pull-ups. And that's really what got me into the whole weightlifting, building muscle thing. And that was purely, like I mentioned, just to get better at sports. I assumed if I was stronger, I would be better at sports. And then after that, I joined a gym at a young age. There was a summer program that gave kids a free membership over the summer. And I had to ask my parents to come sign me up because you had to be 16 and I was 14. So they had to come in and sign a waiver for that. And I wasn't the most disciplined kid, for sure. My parents definitely made me independent, and to have some of the free reign that they gave me to be able to go out with friends and do stuff, I had to earn it. I had to have a job, finish my chores, do my homework and all that stuff. So my parents definitely raised me to have that kind of mindset. And I grew up in a town with some good kids, luckily didn't get stuck into anything bad. And we were all my friends were very passionate about sports, and I wanted to excel. So I kept putting myself in the gym. And at a young age, I remember I didn't have a car or any way to get there all the time. My parents would work late, and I remember I would run, even in the winter in Ottawa. It would be like a foot of snow on the ground, and I'd be jogging to the gym. It was about 1.5 miles, but still a decent little run in the snow. And I was just super dedicated from a young age because I loved it so much. And as I mentioned, sometimes just being in the gym with my music and that focus was just like a point of solitude for myself to enjoy. And there was a quiet gym, luckily, and I slowly learned over time that no one in the gym is looking at you or judging you. Everybody who's been in there was a beginner at some point, so they're not looking at you making fun of you. They were you probably a year or two ago, and everyone's just truly there to help out. And I've discovered that the fitness community in general is a very encouraging community, because everybody has the same experience as you. They get in, they feel better, they get some confidence. They're like, this is great. Like, I would love for other people to feel this too. You hope, if they're nice enough. And that typically allows them to be very inclusive and want people to come and join and just be a part of it all. So I found it's not as judgmental as people think once you're in it.